everybody, spoiler day 8. Let's get right into it. Alright, so today Jagex revealed a brand new relic called the Guardian Relic, so I'm going to explain that relic and how you're going to use it. I'm going to talk about it, how it's going to be better or worse than having friends or random clan mates, or I don't know, just random people who just happen to be on your world that you do raids with. Also, I'm going to talk about a few other uses for the Guardian Relic. And then in the trailer today, there was a few fun moments that I just want to highlight. If you missed them, hopefully it'll be a good time, and hopefully it'll be a short video. So, the Guardian Relic, there was a bunch of details that were released on Discord, so if you haven't seen those, I'm going to touch on those. But pretty much, this is a relic that pretty much gives you a really exceptionally powerful thrall. So for those of you who don't know what thralls are, there's summonable minions that kind of support you and do damage over time, and they have like a time period and they have a max hit. So the Guardian has a 15 max hit. You can switch the gender if you want a male or a female, and they can be summoned alongside thralls. So this is like stacking additive damage for you, so it's just going to be more damage. Now, just want to point out that this thrall has a maximum hit of 15, so it's not going to be like a more multiplier on your max hit. So, you know, just because you're hitting harder, it doesn't mean the thrall is going to hit harder. Even though it does look like a player, it's not going to be as powerful as a player, but it still will be powerful. It'll clean up other side mobs and minions. It has no cooldown, so you can pretty much have infinite uptime with it, even though they have a 30-minute kind of uptime. So just remember to, you know, maybe set yourself a timer or reminder that every 30 minutes you're going to recall this. Also, you know, if you don't have like botanist, for example, you can just remember when you repot, just resummon your thrall, not a big deal. It will change to whatever attack style is best. Now that means you don't have to think about summoning, you know, the mage or the range thrall. You can just summon it and it will do whatever is likely the lowest defense of the enemy, right? That's great. So that way it's always putting out the maximum damage possible, and it's kind of smart in raids as well. I think it'll do like AoE magic when it has to kill multiple minions, and it'll do range when it needs to do more focused single target damage based off of defenses and everything. So we'll see. And it can do AoE damage up to 9 targets, so pretty much like the 9x9 tile that, you know, your AoE ancient magic spells can do. It's going to be able to do that. However, the Guardian Thrall does not ignore defenses, but that's why it is smart at automatically switching between the different styles, right? In the video, they didn't show it doing melee, so I don't know if it'll do melee, but there's a good chance it might. I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't have all 3 combat styles, and it would just attack with whatever the opponent is weakest against. Cool. So now, you know, people have talked about, hey, I'm going to use this in raids all the time. Even in Jagex's Twitter post, it says, hey, when your friends are asleep at 3 a.m. and you want someone to do raids with, you can summon your Guardian. Cool. So there is one huge benefit to this. When you're doing a raid alone, and this Guardian will not count as another player, so the raid bosses are actually going to have 1 player HP and stats. Now the stats don't change that much. It's mostly the HP that's affected, but that still means you're going to be able to kind of kill it faster than you would be able to do alone. That said, if you're trading off Guardian for a really powerful combat relic, let's say the special attack relic, for example, that, you know, is likely to come out but not 100% sure, then you're probably going to still do less damage overall, because the Guardians are just not, I don't think, as powerful, but they're going to be continuous damage. So this is really beneficial if you're planning to take, for example, Banknote, and you're going to kind of, you know, be opening your inventory and eating food. Your thrall or your Guardian in this case will just continuously do damage against the boss. And then also, if you have thralls unlocked, you can have both of them spawned, and then that way they're continuously doing damage to the boss, and you can keep eating. So now, if you watch my last video, you may have remembered that says you have to attack the boss to kill it to do damage. Well, in this case, you don't. You can bring noted sharks with Banknote, just keep eating through 10,000 sharks, and let your Guardian, and if you have thralls, your thrall kind of do the magic trick and kill the boss, right? So that's one great way to kind of use the thrall in the raids. But that said, because the relics are so powerful and the gear scales over time, doing raids with your friends, even though the raid boss will have, you know, 2-player HP and, you know, some more stats because of it, you're still gonna kill bosses faster in a group usually than you will solo, because there's just a lot more damage input. Obviously, there's a lot of different factors because there's more HP. You know, you can mess up mechanics. Jagex made this joke of, you know, your friends won't mess up the mechanics for you. Well, come on, Jagex. Many of us, like you and me, we're just trying to learn the game, and we're going to make mistakes, but your thrall won't, or your Guardian won't, right? So that's a great way to kind of, you know, if you need a break from, you know, bringing people like me around, then, hey, you can go and run your raid solo, and don't worry about the Guardian making mistakes. Cool. There are some other great uses for the Guardian. Now the animation, the teaser video didn't really touch on those, but pretty much you can use it anywhere you can summon a thrall. That's pretty much any PVM. So if you're doing, for example, Slayer, and you put on a cannon, you put on a thrall, you summon a Guardian, you're gonna be killing monsters so fast, right? It's gonna be insane Slayer XP, and you're not even gonna be gaining as many combat stats because your additional minions are the ones that are doing the damage, but because of that, it's great. And if you don't have access to thralls because of your region choices, or you don't have access to a cannon because of your region choices, don't worry, you still be able to pick the Guardian Relic, right? So there's a couple ways to kind of like go about it, and you can have one to kind of boost your Slayer experience. Just remember, Slayer is also going to be super fast because you're going to be able to get more superior monsters. That means a lot more XP, and you're just going to have way more damage to kill the monsters. You're going to be able to last recall back and forth to keep picking up brand new tasks. So overall, Slayer won't be too bad, but pretty much anytime you're doing any PVM content, the Guardian is going to be great. It's just going to support you all the time. So don't just be worried about, hey, I'm not doing raids. Can the Guardian be helpful for me? Yes, you can make great use of the Guardian. Cool. So Jagex pointed out these few funny things in the things. I just want to take a look here quickly at the friends list. Barrage Obama, it's kind of funny because your Guardian will also be doing AoE damage. So I don't know if it was a tease to that. There's also some Bazinga. A Diet to E-Girl. This one's kind of memey. Imagine your Guardian, if you have a female Guardian killing the raid boss, you can say, hey, Diet to E-Girl. But I think one of the funniest ones was Intern is cool, right? And then Jagex a few days ago when Intern, messed up posting on socials, they kind of made a joke at that. So I just want to kind of point that out. It was funny for like 2 seconds, but hey, what the hell? Just wanted to point out things that you may have missed in the video. One more thing, I thought this was kind of interesting, is they recorded doing the raid twice with 2 different sets of boots. So if you watch the video closely, some of the shots are done with the rune boots, some of them are done with the infinity boots. Why the different choice? I don't really understand that here. One thing I do want to point out about the video that was great is all the gear that you're seeing this player do the raid with in Toa, they've pretty much acquired that early on. So you can actually pick up this gear with the melee relics and with the Guardian be able to kill this raid. I think that was the great part of the teaser. That's kind of half the reason I wanted to show you these screenshots, is that this is the gear you'll be able to unlock from Karamja and from having the Draman staff and going to Zenaris. And then you're going to, and I think, it has a Dragon Defender, so that's going to require Asgarnia. But maybe you get some other shield or something. You can just use the Obby shield and that'll be fine. It's got a great strength multiplier. And then, you can get Infinity Boots because you're obviously going to be unlocking Desert for Toa, so you're going to be able to do Mage Training Arena for the Infinity Boots. I just thought it was kind of funny that they recorded the 2 different, raids, the 2 different boot sets, and then they kind of mixed and matched. So then, when the character is running to open the chest, at one point they're running with the Infinity Boots, then they're opening the chest with the Rune Boots. It was just kind of a weird thing there. But I just feel like pointing it out, letting you guys know. Anyways, it's a great short video, great update, great relic. I think it'll be, good utility to make the game a little bit more fun. And I just want to thank you all for watching. I hit, over 100 subscribers and like 8,000 something total views. I never expected any of this, so I really appreciate you guys, especially for those of you who are sticking to the end. Feel free to, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm just here to kind of, share the content that I think is valuable, give you guys kind of like the Spark Notes version of the, of all the information that's coming out there, so you guys don't have to spend all day reading through and monitoring Discord. Not that I'm doing that either, but I spend a good time scanning the information at the end of the day to try to give you guys a nice summary. And if you want me to, if you want to tune in to the live streams for the league launch, definitely give me a follow on Twitch. I'll leave the link below, and thank you, everyone.